3, 2, 1.
Welcome everyone. Another day, another guest. Today's guest.
Yeah.
We go way back with this fella. I do personally,
he
and
does.
Ali. One of my closest mates. We've got Aaron in the studio. Welcome, Aaron.
Welcome.
How you guys doing?
Good, bro. Speak closer to the mic, please. No one can hear you.
How you guys doing?
I'm good, bro. Thanks for
Lovely.
coming on the studio.
Yeah.
Hope
That's
you're
all-
loving the new setup and shit.
That's all good.
That's a nice plan, eh?
Oh,
It brings it all
cactus-
together.
The cactus,
yeah. I don't know if you noticed it,
I didn't know
but
if
it's
this was yours. I thought this was like.
yeah,
Tim's or
sometimes I
something.
break it off and use it as toothpicks, but like, you know,
Oh
I'm
my
interesting like that. Nah, but in all
No,
seriousness,
that's not his.
it's not
Oh,
mine.
this is
He doesn't
this
do
not
that
the
yours.
either.
studios.
It's
Yeah,
He
not-
doesn't
yeah.
do that either, by the way.
I don't do that either, guys. No, I don't. I'm fucking joking, by the way. Yeah, man. How's things been? What have you been up to
What you been
lately?
up to?
Yeah, no, it's been good. Not gonna lie. Yeah, I was pretty nervous coming onto this
Oh
podcast.
shit, no.
Only because it's not my type of thing.
Oh
Yeah.
right.
It might more into performing, but for you guys,
This is.
I'll do
Think
it.
of this as a
Yeah.
performance, mate. Think
talking.
of this. Yeah.
Yeah, talking's performance.
Yeah. Why
yeah.
not? Yeah. Like, just think about it like
If I
that.
had a bass in my hand, it'd be a lot easier. But
Give him a black star.
yeah,
Yeah.
no, just been working.
What have you been up to? Yeah.
Uni. I've also been trying and get a job as a casual
Sure.
at like different schools. But the main
Yep.
thing I've been trying to focus on is just music right now.
Sure. Just give us a background then. So, school. You mentioned school.
those
then
that
you,
don't know you.
Yeah. For those that give us a quick bio, mate.
So for those,
IMDb.
so
Give
for
us some
those
of
that
that.
don't know me, my main passion is music.
Yep.
I was pursuing that since probably year 7. Took it as an elective in year 9 and year 10. Then took it more seriously in high school and then went to uni. Studied a Bachelor of Music.
Yep.
At good old Western Sydney.
Yeah.
Nice.
WSU.
And you've graduated?
Yeah, graduated.
correct,
that. Now I'm doing a Masters of Teaching at
Yep.
ACU.
Nice.
Strathfield. And so far, knocked down 1 year.
Yep.
Got second year to go. But
It's
obviously
only 2 years, right, Masters?
only 2
Yep.
years. Yeah, but obviously everyone knows that this year's going to shit. So
Oh, it's in the bin pretty
yeah.
much.
Yeah. Oh, but like if in terms of actually trying to go out and teach,
Yep.
placement's been a bit
Oh, it's
whack.
been tough.
Oh, yeah.
It's been tough.
Priorities are a bit more for people who are going to graduate soon.
Yep.
Mm.
So for me, we might have to wait till maybe like later in the year. If not, you can try and find your own. But even then, that's kind of looked down upon because our coordinator was saying not to pursue anything like that because it's you don't want schools to put you don't want to put that burden on schools.
Yeah.
It's like schools might have to shut down because of coronavirus or
Right.
if there's it would be like big influx of like other students trying to become pre-service teachers or something.
Right.
So you just have to really take your time with this. And I think the one thing that they said to us was just take your time, be patient, and your time will come when it comes to having a placement. So right now, like in terms of becoming a teacher, it's going to be a bit of a process. But
Sure.
I'm
So
good
that's
to
your
do it.
first, like one, that's obviously your, I guess your first line of income, would you say? Like if you were going to, like that's
Yeah,
what you want to do.
That's what I wanna
Full-time
pursue.
gig is teacher. You
Yeah.
do gigs on the side as far as music,
Yeah.
collab with other artists and
Yeah,
stuff like
exactly.
that. I know obviously we'll probably dive into this later on now, bro. Jiu-jitsu as well. You're pretty gun at that.
I don't feel you're going to bring that up.
Of course I'm going to bring that up, bro. You can kill me, bro. You can, bro. You really can. And I'm glad that I'm your friend, and I'm not some random cunt to you, because like you literally you can kill someone, bro. Let's be real.
Oh,
You can
thanks.
literally, you literally can.
I appreciate that. But
You're weaponized, mate.
I appreciate that,
you-
but like
You're a weapon.
there's always more to learn. in
Oh,
How
terms
long
of
yeah.
have you
sport.
been doing it for?
I've been doing it since 2018.
18.
Yeah, the start of 2018.
Right.
That was a crazy journey,
Yeah.
and it's like
It's because it wasn't something he wanted to do initially. It was something
why
that he
did you get
fell in
into it?
love. Yeah.
so. The way it worked was my sister was telling me, because I think that time I wasn't doing anything sport related.
Mm-hmm.
I had played football for like a couple of years, and then up until that point I just stopped. So I was just at uni at the time,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and I wasn't really into fighting at all. It was
Mhm.
like when I was growing up.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
I didn't like fighting at all.
Yep.
And then when someone's calling me, man, what the heck?
You can take it if you want.
It's my dad. No,
Oh,
it's-
okay.
so I'll call him back later.
Yeah.
He knows.
Yeah.
So I hope he doesn't hear this.
He might.
No, my call, bitch.
yeah.
I'll call you back soon. Don't worry. Yeah. So jiu-jitsu was. I started 2018, and my sister was telling me I should just try it. And the one thing that she said to me was, if you don't like it, you don't have to do it again.
Yep.
So It's in Parramatta, so shout out to Gracie who might have
Yes. Yes.
So I went with my cousin,
Yep.
2 cousins and my uncle. And my first thought was, oh man, these guys are going to kill me as soon as I like step onto the mat.
Yep.
And instantly, as soon as I got there, everyone was so friendly, very family orientated.
Yep.
Everyone knows each other to the point where when new people come in, they always like to, make sure everyone's welcome.
Yep.
And so by the
Yeah.
time I got in,
100%.
there, it was a no gi class. So how classes run at jiu-jitsu schools, there's gi where you have the whole get up,
Yep.
and then there's
The whole
no gi.
Goku. Yeah. That one. Yeah.
And then they have no gi, which is just the rashi.
Yep.
And you can wear like shorts. And so I did that class, and for me, probably the most exhilarating thing I've like done in a while
Yep.
in terms of like just going one-on-one against the person.
It's a workout and a half.
Oh man,
It's a workout and a half.
my
that one.
My first workout, I rolled with my cousin,
Yeah.
Deshaun.
Because you were both novices, like you were both
Yeah.
relatively new to it. Yeah.
Deshaun and my family were like a bit more experienced,
Right.
by like a good couple of months, and I rolled with him. And as you know, you've like people who don't know, Jono's actually done has enrolled
A couple of classes.
done
Yeah.
a couple
Yeah.
classes, and he's actually really good too.
Oh fuck off!
But he
Really?
hasn't been to training in a while.
Yeah. Well, I mean, my shoulder's fucked and COVID. Yeah.
Shit. But anyway,
Talking shit.
but yeah, my cousin Deshaun, he was just flowing with me, and I was
Oh.
going harder. So as most white belts start off, or new guys start off, they always like to go 100%, because at that time they don't know much moves, any fundamentals or basics. So what they're trying to do is they're just trying to get a one up on their opponent when their opponent technically knows more than them.
Yep.
Yeah.
So it's like he's kind of toying with you, but he's also flowing with you. So you can
Yeah.
go hard
Yeah.
out.
Yeah.
So at the time when I first started, that's what I was doing. So after my first class, I'm pretty sure I was gonna pass out. I
Oh.
was that tired.
Yeah. And you
Wow.
don't, and you forget sometimes to breathe.
Yeah.
Like,
Like when you literally just run a whole position, and then when you can't, you're literally gassing yourself to the
Yeah.
point where that person, if he's like a lot better than you, he's gonna sweep you. And once you get to sweep, you can hold position.
It's
on
a
you.
very
Yeah.
practical sport. Is it a sport? Like,
Yeah,
or
yeah,
is it
yeah.
discipline, whatever you
Yeah.
can call it, martial arts. As
Yeah.
far as like all the disciplines out there,
Mm.
because you go back, we go back in Hoist Gracie very first, like
Yeah.
as far as like all the martial art disciplines, like he was like it was like the superior discipline, right?
Yeah,
like
exactly.
He killed everyone.
Yeah, like
And yeah, I mean, as far as like the sport itself, like I know its importance, and even cops do it. Like it's one of those things where cops try and
yeah. I think all cops should learn martial arts.
I mean,
my
yeah.
opinion is specifically jiu-jitsu.
specifically jiu-jitsu, like Joe Rogan talks about it and
Yeah.
shit like that. It's such a good sport. Like
Like,
I
yeah.
myself want to get into it as well, like as much as you do. And
Yeah.
it was fun. Don't get me wrong.
For sure.
I feel like I'm in a better position now.
Oh, yeah.
Once everything goes back to normal,
Yeah, of
obviously,
course,
I definitely do want to get back onto it.
Oh, I'm not gonna lie. I was talking shit about you. I haven't been to training, and like they've been doing classes. It's just
Oh, they're doing training class
yeah,
now.
but it's not like rolling classes.
Oh,
Because
So-
like COVID.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
so like right now it's
So how
everyone.
do they do it?
So right now it's mobility classes. So everyone has to space themselves out
right.
Yeah.
and just like practice moves in terms of how you would chain your moves together in a jiu-jitsu roll or a fight.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they might like you start off with stretching,
yeah.
warming up, and in terms of like actual moves, there's like sit-throughs. You have to do like cartwheels, forward rolls.
Oh man, those are actually fun as well. Like
It's a good warm up.
Oh,
for
it's
sure.
such a good warm up, bro. And I hear that you're you're a champion. You've won some medals. as well.
The champion. I actually haven't. I've only
Oh, you
I've
haven't?
only placed like
Swear to God,
second
you
or
have.
third. Yeah, I'm too shit.
No, bro, you can kill us, bro.
Second or third. Or two
Yeah.
shit.
Second or
What?
third, too shit. No,
Yeah.
like but in terms of actually comping, it's a lot different than actually being or just rolling and practicing.
Yeah.
And I think anyone who wants to try it, my advice would be to actually just get into competition. Even if you've been training for
Right.
what, like 2 months. Simeon, who's been on this podcast,
Yes.
his first comp, he only trained for a month and he won in his first comp. So yeah, like I'm
Shout
telling
out to me. Yeah.
my reaction to it. The guy was winning on points and Simeon manages to pull guard, lock a triangle in and
And
like
tapped
literally
out.
mangled this guy's arm, and I was like,
Oh,
oh
wow.
my god! And my coach, who's also my uncle, who runs,
Yeah.
who also like
Gracie, yeah.
runs the gym with with the other coach George.
Yeah.
Shout out to them.
Shout out to the boys. Yeah.
Yeah.
They like Jason's reaction was crazy, just because I think for someone to come in for a month
Yep.
and just literally
Wipe the floor.
wipe the floor with this guy. He was like, and I think at that time you can tell by stripes. So if he was doing gi, so the way it works in like grading, to get your next belt, you have to have at least 3 or 4 stripes. And
Yep.
the guy Simeon was versing, Simeon has no stripes.
Yep.
He's only been training for like a month.
The guy had stripes.
The guy had like 2 stripes. on.
Wow.
Yeah, and obviously like stripes don't mean anything, but to me that shows that this guy's probably been training for like a
Oh,
while.
100%.
So he's definitely got the advantage. And Simeon, something just clicked in him,
Yeah.
and he managed to get the win.
And he managed to get it. Yeah.
He's
yeah.
a hard worker.
Yeah,
I remember. Yeah,
first
he
belt-
is. He is. But and that's the thing. You know, jiu-jitsu. Even if you've done it for a couple of months, you've already got a leg up in
Oh,
any
for sure.
situation. Like it's such an important skill to have. It's like communication skills, bro. It's like when you know how to do that, you know how to like. It's better than bashing someone's head in. To be honest, let's be fair.
It's quite safer.
It's safer.
And I think that too. I think what I really like about it is, even when you roll with someone, you like when you stay at like gym and like you
Yeah.
really get along with people. Even after you roll with someone and like you go 100%, after you just like shake hands, like that was a sick roll, man.
Yeah.
And, like you've literally spent like the last 5-10 minutes trying to choke each other out, or, like break each other's arm, and it's just like, oh man, like my best friend.
it's such a respectful place,
Yeah.
especially that particular gym. Like, yeah, man. Like, I know it's definitely something that came out of nowhere for you, and now it's become sort of part of your lifestyle
yeah,
now.
exactly. Like I think how it all came to be, since my first class, I didn't think I was gonna like it, but the fact that
Yeah.
I think for me, I knew as soon as I would say the word like addicted. I was coming by myself without uncles or cousins.
Oh wow.
So
Right.
to the point where I was doing like daytime classes, nighttime classes, and
You're just trying to fit it in your
Yeah,
schedule
yeah,
because
yeah.
it's not like it's around the corner from where we live, bro.
It's quite far.
It is.
But to the point where I think that's when I enjoyed it that much. Like I
Yeah.
didn't think I cared. To the where it's like I didn't really care
Yeah,
how
man.
far it was. I was just gonna go.
Oh, especially if you're a white belt, you get smashed.
Oh yeah, you do.
You get smashed. Like
Yeah.
it's like you're meant to quit. Like they want. Like it's like you're losing.
But I think what it is as
Yeah.
well, it's breaking the ego down.
Oh, 100%. Oh, 100%.
As soon as people come in as a white belt, let's say you verse an opponent, like let's say you're bigger than your opponent, but your opponent somehow he's probably like more experienced than you, and somehow like still smashes you, or like rolls with you and like toys
Yeah.
with you, just because he's got that experience under his belt, and manages to, I would say, win the role.
Yeah.
I think for the guy who's actually just started, it kind of brings the ego down a bit more, which allows you to learn. And I think that's what my coaches instilled with me was, you're gonna get tapped out,
It humbles you, man.
Yeah,
It humbles you.
You're gonna get tapped out. You're gonna, lose a few, but you have to make sure that as you keep going, like you humble yourself to make sure it allows you to learn. And I think that's what the biggest thing about the sport is, just to keep learning.
Yeah.
Because I think once you stop and you think you know everything, I think that's when you've really weakened yourself in terms of being a jiu-jitsu practitioner or
Yeah.
even doing jiu-jitsu in general. So
Yeah,
You know
man.
Where, like the origin is from.
the origin.
Oh yeah, yeah. Talk
So,
about that.
In
Talk
terms
about
of origin, it can be seen as like starting off in Japan.
Yep.
Which pretty sure it started off in Japan first.
that. It was like
obviously-
jujitsu in
Yeah.
itself. Yeah.
But then obviously the Gracies, which is the gym I train at now, I've actually got a picture of Hoyler Gracie.
Oh,
So
shit.
anyone who knows Hoyler Gracie,
Big time.
or Eddie Bravo,
Yeah.
that big fight they had, Eddie Bravo, 10th Planet Jiu-Jitsu practitioner,
Yep.
trains with the Boogie
Tony
Man,
Ferguson, yeah, and those guys, yep.
So those guys, like I think in terms of jiu-jitsu, it's like it's all linked together. So I train at Gracie, so
They're world class. Like
Yeah,
Gracie's like world
yeah.
class, top
Well,
of the line.
So from then on, it went from Hoyler down to Jason's coach Bruno, who trains out towards the beach, like north the beach
Sure.
areas. And then from then on, Bruno taught my uncle Jason and our other coach George. And so from then on, it's literally just been
It's been passed down.
it's
Yeah.
literally just being passed down from like person to person. And then
Fuck, it's so good.
now I think Jason and George started their own gym in 2016.
Yep.
Whoever's like, if any of the people are listening to this and I'm getting the dates wrong, I'm sorry. I was told it was 2016, and this is when George and Jason were the only brown belts at the time.
Oh wow.
But they started off really young, to the point where the gym actually wasn't like the biggest gym in the world, but it was still like you could
Yeah.
feel comfortable, and it was like you could fit pretty much everyone on the mat.
Yeah.
And as they kept going from 2016 till now, they've built up like a really big family over there.
Yep.
Where
Huge
to the
gym.
point where we take people into comps, special comps. Some of the people are even being sponsored by other jiu-jitsu apparels and all that.
Yeah.
So,
Wow. Yep.
So it's just been a crazy journey. the way.
So
it's
it
all
started in
worked out.
Japan. Now
Yeah.
Gracie family popularized it because they brought it to the UFC,
Yeah,
and that was like huge back then, especially at the time that
a
happened.
huge thing for mixed martial arts.
Mixed martial arts
Yeah,
as a whole,
yeah.
because like I think at the time, and I think I was telling you, like there were what like everyone's, hey, kickboxing is the best, Muay Thai is the best, and no one really knew what discipline
Yeah,
was
especially
the superior,
the ground game.
especially the importance of the ground game
Yeah.
as well. So I mean, as far as like cultural impact, bro, like a lot, it put Brazilian jiu-jitsu more specifically on the map, right? You could say, right?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. So good segue. I mean, Brazilian jiu-jitsu is where you met your missus.
Oh,
Oh shit! Shout out,
Hi
hey.
guys.
Shout out to Jesse. Great segue, by the way. That was you, not me. I didn't do
I
that.
didn't say anything. Just
Oh.
banged the table and so. Oh yeah, so segue into this. This is where you met your missus, huh? What the hell?
Yeah,
Yeah.
good segue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I met. So I was started in 2018. Jesse
Oh, yeah, right.
was at another gym in the same year, but she moved to our gym.
Yep.
And that's when I first met her.
Yep.
And then from then on, it just happened to start off with like talking, rolling with each other, and then obviously people were like looking at us like, "Oh, Aaron, who's that girl?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, here we go."
Happens.
And then what happened after that was I
Mm.
I enjoyed like spending time with her, and it turned from
sweet.
like after.
Sorry, bro. Sorry.
Well,
You do think.
These are your questions, so I'm just answering.
Oh,
You know,
Shit.
so
Put him on the spot.
I know. So
Yeah.
it happened. So what happened was she started to, she takes stretching very seriously after class.
Yep.
And so I would stretch with her, to the point where it was probably the one time that we could actually just hang out and like talk like how the week was, how our day was, and I really enjoyed my time where I think finding someone with a common interest like that.
Mm.
And I think being able to just, roll and practice jiu-jitsu together was, I think, it's quite important for me because I think I didn't think jiu-jitsu.
Especially at the time, right?
Yeah.
Like mentally, I remember you were
yeah.
telling me, you have to talk about it, but yeah, I remember.
In terms of like my mental state, jiu-jitsu really helped me at the time. So when that happened, I found someone who also like enjoyed doing it. So as I was learning learning the sport, I was also like getting closer with her.
Yep.
And I ended up we ended up getting more closer. And,
One thing led to
one thing
another,
led to
this
another,
and
now we're
that.
together.
Now you're together. How
And
long now?
Like it's been since December. So yeah.
Right.
And my
What's
coach
the
went.
date?
Oh, December 5th.
The
dates.
Nice,
All
nice,
right.
nice.
I know
nice.
the dates.
I know what you're trying to do there.
I know
I
the
know what you're
dates.
trying to do. Yeah.
Baby, I love you. So
Yeah, 6 months, bro. Fuck. That's pretty strong, bro. Especially in the time like this, bro.
Yeah, no.
Must be hard.
In terms of this, so anytime that I can see her, even if it's just chilling, I'll just
Yeah.
pull guard or some shit.
That's so weird.
Triangle
of her.
choke.
So like she'll just be hugging, and I'll just put my leg over, and I'll just put her in a triangle. or
And
something
then
like
armbar, and then Kimura, fucking those
that.
ones.
Like I think for us, I think the one thing that I really liked about it was we flow quite a bit,
Mm-hmm.
where we can. I think she's awesome in terms of chaining her moves together.
Yeah.
And how she flows, where she actually doesn't go. She's not going like 400%,
Yeah.
trying to kill me all the time. Like when she does it, she does. But in terms of actually just flowing with me, like training her moves together, even if I got her in a bad spot, she knows how to sweep or even get out of it. Where from then on, I think she's learned. It's a good mentality to have where
Yeah.
the more you actually are put in bad positions, the more you learn how to get out of them. And
That's true. That's true. I remember
So-
you were teaching me a lot about that as well.
So, and I think it's always good to know, even when like it's good to make sure that you're getting one up on your opponent, but it's also good to know that when you're being put on, like when your back's against the wall and you don't know where to go, like the first thing is to just focus and breathe and figure out what's a way I can get out of this,
Yeah.
to the point where it's like either your opponent's going to make a mistake or you just have to be patient.
Yeah.
I'm not saying there's always a way out. You're probably going to tap out. Someone's probably
Yeah.
going to choke you, but like that's just the whole point of the game.
Yeah, and what I learn't from this guy was that there's always opportunity as far as like you said, to your point, right? There's like you always have to be aware, and it keeps you present. Like that was like the important thing that as well that I learned from him, because like you can be like kind of not, if your head's not in it, then you're going to get tapped.
Yeah, exactly.
If you're not in it, if you're not present, then you're going to get swept. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it helps you be a lot more present, and be a lot more grounded, essentially. So, I mean, yeah, it's a fucking good sport,
Yeah.
right? And I don't know, like,
I think the one thing I learned from it was, in terms of just like mental state.
yeah,
I think Joe Rogan or Guy Ritchie, like when you had
I remember,
Guy
yep.
Ritchie's podcast when they had that, it was just talking about like what you were saying, just that mental headspace where it allows you to really, let's say if you have like, you know, everyone goes through like their problems and their stresses in their life.
Yep.
It allows you to really, let's say you go and train, you know, for like an hour or two.
Yep.
You've had like your problems are going on throughout the day. You go into the gym for like an hour or two, and when you come out, everything that like the problems that you've had in your life, they're not gone, but you can look at them through like fresher eyes, you know,
Yep.
a new lens, if you were to say that.
yeah,
Because
yeah.
you know, it's like what it allowed you to do was when you're rolling and when you're practicing with people, your main goal is to not, you know, get choked out
Yep.
or get armbarred or, you know, get attacked. You know, you're literally on the defensive, but you also can attack where that's all you're thinking about
Yeah.
in that moment. You're not thinking about, oh, I wonder what happened today. I don't know why that person said that to me. Or don't know
Yeah,
why,
that's a really important, yeah.
Oh, it's like, you know, I've got bills to pay or, you know, I got a fine or something, like just like normal stresses that I think everyone goes through. When you're at the gym, it doesn't allow you to think about those things
Nah.
where you literally have to be
You're, like,
on your P's and Q's to think smart and not die.
Oh, 100%.
Of it, like, you know, obviously nothing happens like that. But
Yeah.
like, in terms of just being smart and being focused, that's what it allows you to do. So when you come out of the gym, you can like literally like take a step back
Yeah.
and just look at the problem through like new eyes or something like that.
So, I mean, like, the past couple of months, the gym's been closed, bro. What have you been doing, like, lately? Like, in terms of, like, COVID?
working
Yeah.
out,
Sure.
not gonna lie, I was trying to, you know, maybe, so what I would try to do is maybe like 100 push-ups, 100
Well,
sit-ups,
yeah.
and like 100 squats a day.
Yeah.
And like, but just body weight. you know.
Yeah.
I have no weights for that. And then, you know, I was talking to my sister about it, even like going for a run or for like a walk, just
Yeah.
being outside, just really can, you know, keep your mind still active.
Yeah.
But in terms of the gym, it's, in my opinion, not the same.
Oh, no, 100%. No. Like, the reason why I was asking is obviously, bro, like, I feel like during isolation, hardly ever really saw each other.
True.
You know what I mean?
That's
So
true.
it's like, what was everyone really up to?
For sure. No.
Besides, you know, obviously we're doing our part in trying to be the best person, right? Despite, you know, the situation that we're all in. But like, I mean, were you stuck at home? Like, was it one of the, like, you still worked, right?
Yeah, so still working.
And you see Jesse, blah,
Yeah.
blah, blah, and then you got all the other stuff happening.
So you
in the
got
back.
like obviously uni online, which was okay. Like, it wasn't the best in my opinion.
Yeah.
I think learning online at home, you know, can kind of, I think maybe like, it's not like the most motivating thing to do. But, you know,
No.
in terms of actually wanting to finish and just like getting your degree done, you just do it anyway.
Yeah.
But in terms of actually going to uni, which I found more helpful, even in terms of music. So I know I've got jiu-jitsu that I rely on too, but music is something that's probably like my main priority.
Yeah.
Even in my everyday life, and just like listening to it, playing it.
Yeah.
And I think really good for the soul, you know.
What type of music do you like?
Type of music. Ooh.
Yeah, what is it, bro? Because like you gotta. There's a lot of you're interested in a lot of sounds, bro.
But I think it's good too in terms of having friends, you know, like you guys, you know.
Yeah, thanks, man. Yeah.
I think listening to songs, even like you, when we were back in high school, I think year 10, even to like year 12, like you would be listening to like specific songs, or like when you got your P's. By the way, he was the first person to get his P's. So,
I was like, I don't remember.
So we all like, you know, just asked him for rides everywhere.
Carpooling.
Yeah.
Playing like The Weekend and that.
Yeah. So you know.
Thanks, babe. Thanks, babe. Fuck. Party next door. Jack, take
Party
care.
next door.
Crying. Janae Aiko, just crying to myself.
Just sad.
I'm not even with you yet, but I'm crying
Yeah.
about you. No.
Wow.
No, but you feel like,
No,
yeah, that's the type of shit I was into.
No,
there,
no,
yeah.
like, well, no, I wasn't gonna talk about that. I was
Oh, what were you
about,
gonna talk about?
Like old school rap. you know,
Oh, yeah.
Where Ali
well,
just destroyed him with, oh yeah, you're so
yeah,
emotional.
Weekend,
Back
you
then,
fucking little simp.
He did though. He did listen to that stuff.
Oh, yeah, I was just in my feels, you know. Like they're talking about like drugs and shit. I'm like,
Yeah, I'm so
I
into
know,
that.
I know what it feels like.
Even
I
though I've
know
never
I
touched
don't.
it
Even though I
before.
never touched it yet. I was like, oh fuck, all right, hang on a minute.
Why don't we get same with like rap songs?
Okay,
that
so-
was before.
So in old school
let's
rap.
go back. Yeah.
So I think there was one song that I remember. It was a Cook and Soul remix. It was Tupac's what song was it called?
What can I say?
Yeah.
We wouldn't be here today if I let the old school pave the way. Yeah, that one.
That was like,
yeah.
I think from then on, I'm not sure if that was the song that like led me, because I'll be
Cook and
honest.
Soul, I remember that.
I'll be honest.
That was Majestic Casuals.
Yeah. I'll be honest.
Back in the
Everyone,
day.
I know everyone was probably on that rap trend.
Yeah.
I wasn't actually in high school. I was always listening to old music. It's
When you say old music,
so
how old?
so maybe like 70s to like the early 2000s.
Like
Okay.
Earth, Wind, Fire.
Yeah, Earth, Wind, Fire,
yeah.
Cool in the Game.
Yep.
Yeah.
And in terms of that, it was mainly funk music. Oh, Stevie Wonder. I have to
Oh, yep.
especially
Stevie
Stevie
Wonder.
Wonder. So the first song.
Yeah. 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 Sorry, bro.
I swear this podcast shouldn't be me laughing.
Oh,
most of the
sorry,
time.
bro. Yeah.
But yeah. So Stevie Wonder, the first song I learnt was, I properly learnt was probably Master Blaster.
Yep.
And that song is like still with me to this day. So what I was listening to back then was a lot of reggae, funk music, soul music, anything that, even like disco, R&B.
Yeah.
A lot of the stuff that I think my parents put me on.
Yeah.
Like, more my dad. Like, I know my mum listened to music a lot, but my dad, I think even like, Michael Jackson too.
Oh, yeah.
So many artists.
Huge.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
So my dad, even like, so we would drive, like, just a quick story, like my dad would drive down to Melbourne. So we would be like all in the car, and the one thing that he'd always do was just like break out the CDs, because at the time, no one had like the MP3.
Yeah. No one had the aux.
Yeah, the aux. Yeah. So just like dad had like all these CDs, so he just put him in, and it was like all like the Eagles, country music, old school rock. Yeah, so
yeah.
a lot of that old stuff, to the
Yeah.
point where I was really used to that. So if I was listening to music, it's what I would be listening to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where so like fast track to like year 11 and 12, I was still listening to that.
Yeah.
So I didn't know any artists like Kendrick, J. Cole,
Yeah.
any of these guys.
Yeah.
I'd only see it in like maybe some Facebook videos, but in terms of anything new at the time, I wasn't listening to it. I only listened to it maybe after we graduated.
Really?
So it was basically at the time when you started showing me like rap music, that's
Yeah.
when I started to actually listen to it a bit more.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so from then on, try to stick with the trend, and I'm actually like enjoying listening to the music as well.
Yeah.
And then my uncle as well, being a big influence in like listening to old songs and how they can use it in new songs nowadays.
Yep.
So I would say I'm pretty up to date in terms
Yeah.
of music.
I find it like very amazing just how like they can grab like a really old
Oh, for sure.
song,
And flip it.
yeah, and then just make
Like,
something new out of
Just
it.
example, like the Isley Brothers. I didn't listen to until maybe like a couple years ago, and then Ice Cube's "It Was a Good Day."
Yeah. Oh, man.
Yeah.
Like, that's where it started, that
yeah.
era. Like, the early 90s.
Just those
Even Thundercat
songs.
uses it sometimes.
Yeah.
What else? Between the Sheets by the Isley Brothers is a Big Papa by
Yeah.
by
And
Biggie Smalls, yeah.
There's so
Bobby
many.
Caldwell did Do for Love.
Yeah, well, you
Tupac
won't do
did
for love.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
so
then
many. Like
and
you just
then-
learn more and
and
more
then Diddy
each time.
flipped More Money, More Problems.
Yeah.
That one as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Like, there's
Yeah.
A lot of good songs.
it
that were
started
sampled,
in like the 90s. Yeah.
And then even like other songs nowadays probably can take the same hook or the same melody or
Yep.
take the same
Yeah.
influences of, like or same like
100%, bro. Chris Brown and Trey Songz do that all the time, bro.
Yeah.
Like, they do that. So yeah.
But I think
I love it though.
Yeah,
they
same.
modernize
You
it,
know,
bro.
yeah,
It
same.
sounds so
Exactly.
it sounds so good.
So when it happens, you either go with it. Like for me personally, I don't like when songs nowadays take everything, like from like an old song. So like take all the elements. I like when you take like a beat or even if it's the same melody. I'm okay.
You're talking
with
about
that.
Future, eh?
Huh? No,
You put a feature on the
no,
ground?
no, no, no,
Oh,
no.
I'll put Future on the ground then. Nah.
What?
Nah, I'm kidding.
No, that song nowadays, it's like that
What
that
are we talking
that ABBA song. I'm not sure if anyone's heard it on the radio.
Oh, which one? Dancing Queen? No.
No. What's it called?
I don't know. I don't listen.
Winner Takes It All.
Gimme.
Oh.
A Man After Midnight. Like I know it's like that's alright.
Give me a night after midnight.
I'm pointing. Okay.
I know the track that you're
Yeah,
saying.
yeah.
I don't know who flipped it though.
Yeah, it's like some DJ. I think he's from Australia. I'm not sure. I'm not gonna lie, but they play it on the radio now, and it's just like
DJ's discretion?
No,
Fuck, I don't
definitely
know.
not.
Do
Like,
people still listen to the radio?
well, at work I do. So
I do
Oh, at
too.
work,
At work, I
right.
do.
I do
Okay,
too.
Yeah, fair enough.
So yeah, but yeah, most of the time, in terms of music nowadays, I'm listening to like a whole bunch. But I've been on this funk craze a little bit, like house funk.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So like, and then, but like in terms of like musicians anywhere, you go through like different phases. If not, like some people actually have like their own specific type of music. So,
Yeah. I wanted
Well,
to. Yeah. Sorry.
Sorry, like going into like what you do.
Yeah.
You play bass.
Mm-hmm.
Is that the only instrument you
Yeah.
play? or do
I've
you
been
play
trying to
other-
play piano a bit more.
Yeah.
You what the
You just tried to vortex.
You tried to vortex a water bottle.
Yeah.
play
Seems
this game.
nah.
No.
Yeah.
So in terms of instruments, yeah, bass
Instruments.
is the first instrument I learned. Piano I can play a little bit. In terms of guitar,
That's sexy. Oh, sorry. I didn't mean to ruin your concentration.
the
Yeah.
guitar I could play 2 songs, and it's
Oh.
it's
How
hard.
different is it?
And so,
like
anyone who
guitar
plays
versus
anyone
bass?
anyone who plays like in terms of anyone who can play an instrument
Mm.
like at a really advanced level, my respect to you. You know,
Yeah.
It's like learning a language, right? It's like, oh, fucking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
oh fuck you,
Oh,
you know.
fuck.
Like, but it's I think you practice. I think that's what it comes down to. In terms of what I see, the same thing with, let's say, if it's jiu-jitsu or music, it's just practice.
Oh
You
yeah.
have
Oh,
to
yeah.
practice constantly.
Yeah.
But it's to the point where you want to practice it. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Being around, those those music types and like really opening up your eyes to different influences and other, other genres,
Yeah.
which is important.
Do
in my
you
opinion.
like when you meet up with people
Mhm.
to do? I don't know what you guys call it. Is it like a collab
Jam
or something?
sessions?
Jam
Yeah,
session.
yeah, jam sessions, collabs.
So when you do that, like,
Mhm.
how does it go? Like, does someone have like a direction, or do you?
Oh.
Because you're like
Yep.
playing the bass.
Yep.
And obviously, like, there's like the singer, and then you're all like the different components.
Mhm.
Like, how does that process work?
Okay, so I'm quite blessed to have. So my friends who call ourselves Black Magic. I'm not sure if we call ourselves that anymore, but like we're so close. So like like we're still good friends, and we always like to jam when we can. Recently, I think the last time we jammed was at Kim's 21st
Mm-hmm.
or
Right.
22nd. Sorry, Kim. I forgot how old you are. He's 22. No, he's 22. It was
Yeah.
his 21st last year. So when that happened, he had a jam at his house, and that was in June. And then the next time we jammed was literally a month ago. So we hadn't played for like a good amount of time.
Wow, that's a
Mm.
big chunk of time, bro.
But if anyone goes on like to Kim's page or Kim's new project, White Canvas,
White Canvas.
a shout out to that.
Shout out to
um,
White Canvas, yeah.
Yeah, so when that happened, we literally got together and Kim put out the message and said, hey, do you boys just want to jam on a Tuesday night? Just come by and then we'll see if what we can do. And when that happened, it's like literally nothing changed. Like these boys that are like, I can play music with, we can play anything, starting from Max down to Max on the guitar, Junior on the drums, Demo on keys, Beanie filling in on keys as well, also on rhythm guitar, and then Kim collaborating all of it. It's a really good space to have.
Yeah.
Mm.
And on top of that, I think the vibe that we have with each other, we can just kind of bounce off one another in terms of playing music, whether it's Max can start playing like guitar riff, and then I'll start playing it, and then Junior will come fill it in, and then we can just
Okay.
jam on
Yeah.
hours on hours. Where I think the longest jams we've had is like 5-6 hours. Yeah, and it's
That's
just
mad.
it's
It
just
goes
got,
by quickly.
yeah, just
Yeah.
and by that too, I think because we're enjoying ourselves, but in terms of the knowledge of our instrument, we know
Right.
like we know how to play, and just the confidence level of just going for it and not like worrying about making mistakes or I think it's more just expressing yourself is like probably the best way to have like a really good jam with someone.
Yeah.
Mm.
I was gonna ask, like, I was gonna say, bro, because like our group more specifically, like our group from high school is pretty diverse, bro. We got a pretty diverse group,
You
like
got
culturally
Callum,
speaking.
Raynor,
Sean, Raynor, Sean, you,
Tim.
me, fucking, you know what I mean? The usual suspects.
and Ethan,
The usual suspects, bro. And it makes us appreciate like sort of the group we have, because our appreciation for music, like the underlying appreciation of music is we all sort of appreciate the same thing. We didn't even realize it. Like Rage, Red Hot Chili,
Yeah.
like you know what I mean? I didn't know that we enjoy the same music, because like you listen to it yourself and it's like you feel like no one knows that sound. So it's like you can't really, but I grew up listening to that
yeah,
shit.
for sure.
So it's like when we listen to it and we jam the fuck out. Like when we went to Selection and they dropped
Yeah,
Rage,
yeah.
and then we're like,
and,
what
and then no one knew it.
no one
Like,
knew
what the hell?
no one knew that track, and we were like head.
I know we were headbanging.
Yeah,
at
we
this
were
point.
headbanging like in the back, but we're like, no one knows. Like this is what you do to a fucking Rage
I
song.
know, and everyone's like looking back, like, what the hell?
Like, what are you what are you doing, bro?
They're
Like,
on something. These guys are on
Hey,
something.
yes.
Yes, they're on something.
But yeah,
Get them
man,
out.
it's it just makes me appreciate it, bro, and it makes me like love our group a lot more, because like like even some of my other groups, like we love sort of similar music and stuff like that, but I can't appreciate that those types of genres I do appreciate, unlike with you guys. So
yeah, for sure,
it's one of those things, bro.
It's being diverse, which is
oh man, it's so good in that respect. But like I mean, like as far as like the boys and stuff, I mean, you are one of the first guys from like our group to really come on, bro. So appreciate you coming through and shit like that. But I also wanted to just ask about, obviously, sort of what's life been like post high school. So did you always have like the same sort of pathway, what you wanted to do, and then you actually went and did that as you sort of expected yourself to, like from high school?
Wait, before you go into that,
sorry.
I didn't know you in high school. So what were you like? Who was
okay.
Aaron? Who's Aaron?
Here we go. Okay, Johnny, you explain.
I'll explain.
I'll explain.
Then you explain.
No, I want to hear Johnny.
I'll fill in the gaps.
All right, so I'll go first.
I'll fill in the gaps.
So
but
I was. What was I doing? So we'll start from like what, year 10?
I was gonna throw primary school.
No. So from
no.
primary school, me and Jono, we weren't that close in primary school.
No, we weren't.
But we graduated. We obviously finished year 6. Jono went to Isley Brothers.
I did.
I went to Claire.
Yep.
And then year 9, you came back.
Year 8. The year after. Yeah. My sister came to Claire, and then I came with her.
Yeah. So year 8, you came back. And then, but we still weren't close at that point. Was it year 9? No, it was year 10.
I think it was like year 9 or 10. Yeah,
oh, yeah.
That's when we officially linked up.
So in year 10, we were in the same homeroom. So it was me.
That was dangerous.
No, that was true.
That was fucking dangerous.
That was dangerous. It was me, Jono, Callum, and Tim in the same homeroom.
And Dale.
Yeah. Crack up, man.
Yeah. It was a funny.
I think the funniest thing was probably in religion class, where I don't know why we chose to sit there, but it was the shape was like a U, like the table was in the shape of a U, and then obviously the gap in the middle. We sat in that gap, and so I don't know why we sat there, to the point where like no one's covering us. So if we're making jokes, like the teacher's gonna like be on us. So when that happened, but even then, like we just don't really give a fuck.
Yeah.
But like in terms of that, like I
think our relationship really sort of
yeah.
started, I guess, flourishing or like started going.
Yeah.
Like we started getting a lot closer just because we were in the same class like every time.
And we had a lot of things in common at the time, you know, especially more into like, did we?
Did we?
I don't know. I wasn't in music class, so
well, like we're in different classes.
Yeah.
But I think what we could talk about.
What were we talking about?
No, fucking, you know what? Fuck, we're not friends, all right? We're actually not friends.
Out now.
We're not friends, okay? No, but like, in year 11 and 12.
Okay, yeah.
So in year 11 and 12, I started playing. What they were doing, I'd like to play football. They like to play basketball.
Oh yeah.
So what happened at that time was I actually didn't like basketball.
Oh,
I was
yeah?
like, oh man, no, football's better.
Yeah.
Obviously, I've grown over to love basketball.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I actually started playing with the boys, where obviously half court, you should only be playing 5-on-5. We were playing like 11 on 11 on a half court.
Some bullshit.
Some bullshit was like,
Yeah,
and the other room was like fucked. So it's like, oh, okay, cool. So we just put 11 on 11. And like, you'd be lucky to get a shot. You'd be lucky to get past the ball. So it's like, man, it's like tryouts, man. If you don't make a good play, the instant you get the ball, man, you might as well just stand there. So when it happened,
I'm laughing.
And the only time we could play was probably after school when everyone left, and we decided to. I think that's when we actually got like really close, you know.
Yeah.
That was with like us boys. So in terms of, and I think in terms of music too, that's what I obviously like used to like drive us around, you know, being a chauffeur,
man, yeah.
listening to that type of music.
His tiny car.
Oh, his tiny car.
What was
it called? What was it?
It was the Mazda Unos.
The Unos.
The Mazda Unos.
The name was the Unos.
Yeah, the fucking little two-door. It's only a 4-seater.
Yeah, everyone had to squeeze in the back.
But I had that big subby in the back, so it sounded like you're in a fucking.
It didn't matter.
It sounded like you're in a Jeep.
Yeah, you're in a Jeep. It would have been small, but you're in a Jeep, basically. Okay.
Yeah.
So,
but I actually forgot, man. What was your memories of those times? Because I literally don't remember.
Well, you boys were really close with me at the time.
Like, who was in the car with us? Like, like Callum? Like,
and in terms of like us boys?
Yeah.
I was just like, it's you, me, Callum, Raynal, Tim and Sean.
Okay, sure.
Obviously, like you boys, like I went through a tough time in high school.
Yeah.
But you boys were there for me.
Yeah.
And from then on, when that happened, I managed to like, you know, get through high school.
Yeah.
We all finished year 12. And I think we all had like our own plans on what we were going to do. You know?
Yeah.
But my plan was I wanted to do music. So I looked at other unis. Other unis, I think they, like in terms of institutions, they're expensive.
Oh, yeah.
So,
bro.
but if anyone wants to do it, try it.
Yeah.
But me personally, I went to Western Sydney.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And there were other unis, but I think other unis maybe could have focused more on classical music, which is
Oh.
not something I particularly liked.
Yeah.
So, but when it came to music at Western Sydney, good diverse group. Friends I still talk to this day. So like it was a really good way for me to, you know, break out and like, you know, just like start expressing myself in terms of like being a bassist and meeting other musicians. And that was mainly my journey going through it. So from 2015 all the way to 2017,
Yeah.
I was there, and excuse me.
Excuse
It was it was probably like my favorite time. That's when I met the boys there. So
Yeah.
So when I met Kim, a special shout out to also like probably like my first friend
Yeah.
that I made, and since then, you know, he's just been a dickhead the whole day. No. He's an awesome. Like he's probably my closest friend now to this day.
That's so good.
Which I hope you guys have on the podcast. 'Cause fuck, he's crack up.
No,
Yeah,
definitely,
we
definitely that guy, bro.
But yeah. So I met him first, and then I met Kim, and then from then on I met the rest of the boys. So Max, Junior, and Demo. And I think the way we got closer was we used to have assignments, and as assignments go, they either had to be recorded or you either had to do an analysis of something.
Yeah.
But the times when we had to record something, everyone does their assignments late. So
Yeah.
what we would do is, even if we didn't have an assignment, but when we did have assignments, we'd literally go into the studio, book it out for like 6 hours.
Yeah.
We'd start at like when we were busy during the day, we'd come in at like 9 o'clock at night, and then go till like 3 o'clock in the morning sometimes. That might have been at least maybe 3 or 4 times a week because it was just that fun, you know.
Wow.
It was just that, and that too. Like we go to sleep the next morning, wake up at 9, do it all over again, and like if we had something during like if the boys were busy during the day after we finished class, you know, go do that, do what you need to do, but everyone knew that we wanted to go back,
Yeah.
like to the studio at like what, like really late at night, and just stay there and just record stuff.
Yeah, I remember you were living at campus before.
Yeah, I was living on campus.
Yeah, we had a drink up one time.
Yeah, it was just us four, you know.
Yeah.
But like it was the only time we did it, where to the point where it was, I don't know, it was nice.
It was good because I feel like I remember that particular time.
Mm.
We haven't seen each other in so
Yeah.
long, bro. It's like after high school, you don't fucking see anyone.
Yeah,
Like it was,
Yeah.
yeah.
it was kind of it's kind of sad, you know, to kind of
What do you mean?
like in terms of believing, like when people obviously some people would say like you wouldn't stay friends after you finish.
Oh, right.
And like, you know, it's
That, yeah,
turns out to be
you
true
hear that.
sometimes.
Yeah, you hear that.
But
a
like
lot.
you boys, I've known you lads since like 2010. So it's
Yeah.
been 10
a
years.
solid
10
wow.
years.
Fuck.
10
10
years.
years.
Take us back, bro. Walkathon days, bro.
Get a
please.
reminisce, you know?
Yeah, I know, bro. Far out. That's what I'm saying, bro. Because like, especially going back, like how far we go back, bro. It's just, it's crazy to just put shit into perspective, like who we actually are still kind of friends with and stuff like that. Who
for
you still
sure.
kind of keep in touch with. Because like, bro, like, I guess just the fact that we've been through so much together, especially with you that time in high school, was like, it was like, fuck, this is one of those moments. Like you don't just stop being friends with someone. Like, you know what I mean? When they go through something like that, bro. So
Nah, and that's why I've always blessed to have like you boys around.
yeah,
Really appreciative of you guys, you know.
yeah,
And because in the end, I think even now that we all do our own thing, I think we're really respectful of that.
for sure.
And I think it's good to, if like, when people who respect each other's time in terms of like what you guys are doing, you don't have to meet up all the time. But when
Yeah.
you manage to actually, like, you know, just hang out and like you just enjoy yourselves.
It's like
you know,
you guys, don't, it's like you guys don't talk for a while and then like,
Yeah, and then
kind of see each other. You guys are so close.
Yeah.
but like when we
Yeah,
can,
like
we
close
just like,
as well, like physically close.
Yeah.
Oh, I
close
love
to
when
me.
you said close. I was like, oh, okay.
Close.
How close are we talking?
Close.
Oh my gosh,
Close
you
are we
boys are so
talking?
like
close are we
inappropriate
talking?
sometimes, I swear.
Yeah, we are.
Anyway.
We are. Yeah.
Close.
Oh,
Very
yeah. Very close. Very close.
No, but I think from then on, it's just it's
Yeah.
it's like life. Like obviously that too. Like, you know, as we keep going, it's been awesome. Just
It's
to
the
have you boys
same
around.
shit, bro. We still crack the jokes we cracked in fucking year 10.
And they're still funny.
It's still funny to this day. Like, oh man, it's good because it's timeless.
Yeah.
comedy, bro. Like it's fucking
I
timeless. I
think it's
love
like
it.
that's our jokes. So it's like
Yeah, it's like those ones that you remember from back in the day.
Yeah.
So it's like, fuck, if you know, you know.
Yeah, if you know,
If
you
you
know.
know, you know. So
Do you
Even
guys
though-
like have like a joke that you just remember?
a running gag. Oh,
a
there's
running-
heaps of them, bro.
Oh yeah, but I'm not sure if we can say those.
No, we're definitely not gonna say it here.
Can't say those on the podcast.
I reckon I'll get
I'm trying to be.
crucified or
I'm trying to be
something.
a teacher. So
Yeah.
I'm trying to be a teacher right now.
True.
That's
We
true.
don't
You'd be
wanna-
like,
Respect
correct.
everyone.
Yeah,
Love
respect
everyone. Okay. Yeah. Please
Oh,
don't do this to me now.
Don't do it, man. Don't do it, man. All right. Well. Okay. Cool.
Well, yeah, going
sorry.
into like, so like you got music.
Mhm.
So is the end goal like just teacher?
So to be like obviously that's like my main goal, but I
Mhm.
think because also so I started gigging with another shout out to I was gigging with this band called the Cherry Bombers. And obviously now
Yeah.
can't do much gigs because whole COVID
Situation.
thing.
Yeah.
So when that happened, I was gigging with. I started with the band. What was it?
You said Black Magic earlier, bro.
Yeah, well, that like in terms of Black Magic, I think that's just more the boys. Where I think now that we have this space, in terms of like working with Kim and his project, I think that'll be like a really good start for us boys to really just keep getting together and
Yeah.
keep like playing music.
Yeah.
With the Cherry Bombers band, my friend who was also bassist at uni, his name's Jake. He asked me if I could like fill in, and I started filling in as a bassist for this band. Who like they would play sometimes in Terrigal, sometimes around Sydney area. Most of the time it was basically up in the Central Coast.
Mm-hmm.
So when that happened, it was fun. Yeah, even as the first time that I was actually gigging consistently.
Yeah.
So getting money on the side it was always fun. Rehearsal, getting to know one another, seeing
So
other different musicians.
Yeah. You consider yourself like a performer. Like that's what you want to do. Like.
Well, I think for me, teacher is the main goal, but I would
Right.
still love to keep gigging,
Right.
keep collaborating with like different artists as well. Like to me, like
Yeah.
music's. I want to keep music with me.
So
Sure.
For sure.
is it different? Like, cause you want the main goal is teacher. Cause you know how some people are like,
Yeah,
like we
yeah,
had Beach just on
Yeah.
a few episodes ago.
Mm.
Yeah.
And he wants like full-time music, like go into performance, that type of
Yeah.
thing.
Would you do
So
that?
like you're more like, I want to go into teaching.
To
like,
me,
this is
I think it's more. You always try to have like. There's always like I think everyone has like their expressive side,
Sure.
and then like their and then like their
I
practical
get you.
side,
I get you.
For me, I like to keep both. Where it's, I think I'm in a good position right now where I can. I'm still at uni. I can still go on placement, still find casual jobs, and I think as long as I think you keep putting in the effort.
Yep.
But for me, it's more teaching is like my main goal.
yeah.
But that too, like it still allows me to have music.
Yeah, of
have music.
course.
But that too, I can also keep up with the boys and still perform and still
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
jam and create and collab. So
Would you say just the lifestyle is different as well
in
in terms of like, I guess being on the road, like
like
performing and
for me, I've
stuff,
never
like-
experienced that. I've only been the longest I've ever had to travel is 2 hours, and that's just to Terrigal. So
But
I
in
just
terms of people,
imagine like if you
if
were
I
in
was
like
to
a
imagine
band
it, like,
and like
so if I was in that position, like I would love it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I
Cool.
think in terms like I think what would help is the band members and just being there for one another.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think being close, because I think if band members like don't have a good chemistry working with one another, one's always having a different idea or you're always clashing. It can obviously it's good to always have it out. If there's an argument, like talk to one another.
Mhm.
But I think that too, what starts with it is good chemistry between the band members.
Yeah.
'Cause I think when that happened,
I know what you mean.
I think when that
like
happened,
the Beatles,
yeah, like
like
when that,
Yoko Ono.
yeah, like
breaking
the thing
up
is,
the
if there's a
Beatles.
lot of clashing, and then when that happens, other influences can influence your idea of what you should
Yeah.
be doing right now.
which you don't want. Bro.
Yeah, like for me,
Yeah.
like I think even that, like blessed to have like my family, my friends are always supporting my
100%.
decision. So
Mhm.
like whatever I'm doing, like I know I've always got like support and like the backing of
Yeah.
everyone. So
Mm.
it feels good to not have that type of pressure on me.
yeah,
Yeah.
So but when that happens, in terms of being a teacher, but also wanting to
You
just
get a bit of both, basically.
yeah, a bit
of
of
both,
both.
That's good.
Yeah. So
It's a good
and it's a
mindset.
good balance. I think it
Yeah.
balances out the practical side, but also your expressive side. You know,
Mm.
yeah,
yeah, I feel like I'm more like that. Well, people like they would just want to be a teacher straight out. Or if someone wanted to be a music teacher and only, that's more than fine too. So,
Yeah.
yeah. Right, cool. Well, man, I feel like we're gonna wrap up now.
All good.
That was a good session.
was good.
It was always. It felt more like a catch up than an actual fucking podcast, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I haven't seen you so long. But
100%.
yeah, man. Did you want to plug your socials, bro?
Plug your
Plug your socials. We'll add it to the description.
Well,
anyway.
I'm gonna start.
Oh,
Like it's like since this whole project started with Kim.
Yep.
You know, it's more just like keeping or like just keep putting out music. So it's more like I wanted to start, putting just bass videos out.
Yep.
You know.
Oh.
And
Go
actually,
for it.
actually just making a start.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you want, you can add me at Avarudo. Very basic name. Just my first letter of my first name and just my last name.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Just A for Rudo.
Hey, Veruda, everyone.
Perfect.
Have to spell it.
We'll add it.
put
to
it in
the-
Because
the
apparently
description
everyone
thing.
when everyone sees it, they're like avocado. Like, they just like Avarudo.
Really?
I don't know.
Really?
I'm like, oh okay. Cool.
Avocado?
Amateurs.
Amateurs.
Amateurs. Nah.
But yeah.
But thanks for coming on.
Thank you.
Oh yeah, just a quick shout out to you guys.
Oh.
Yeah.
Really? We
I just wanted
didn't?
to say like
Oh,
I
here we
was
go.
thinking I was gonna say this, but no. In terms of you guys,
Yeah, sorry.
Babe.
I'm sorry.
I just want to say I'm really proud of both of you.
Oh.
And
Oh,
like,
thank you.
I wish nothing but the best in terms of how you guys put the effort in for this project. So yeah,
Thanks, man.
wishing you
Really
guys all the
appreciate it.
best.
Thank
know.
you.
Mwah, hugs and
I'll
kisses.
see you at the drink up tonight.
Oh.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay.
Ellie doesn't know about it.
I don't actually. I didn't find out till today.
I,
Oh, shit.
I told her today.
Okay, so
but I told her today.
okay,
hang
so-
on,
so-
hang on. Anyway.
All right. Anyway,
Thanks,
bye guys.
guys. Love
Thank
you.
you.
Bye.
Bye, guys.